And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome back into the Dragon's Den. My name's Digital Dragon, a 3D printing variety streamer here on Twitch. How's it going? Bexy Beans, hey Tinkering Techie, Mod Light. Everyone's doing well this evening. Let me take a look over here at YouTube. Move that. I hope everyone's doing well this evening. I am doing pretty good. It's a little bit of a slow day here at the shop, but slow day for customer foot traffic. Great day though for meeting some new people that stop by and getting some work done, projects done. Let's see, what all did we work on? I swapped out the DXC extruder for the stock extruder on my Creality K1C. It's going to go to a new home soon. So we had previously worked on getting it all cleaned up. And that was the last step, was finding the extruder that I swapped, or the original extruder, and then swapping that back over and getting it running again. So that's good. It's back to stock. We got a A1 squared away that Mrs. Dragon has been borrowing from one of our other friends to do some classwork here at the store. And we had a first successful, I'll say real print on the RatRig. Had a couple of failures, but that was all me being boneheaded on the the slicing configuration. Hey, Abitnutz, how's it going? You made it. You made it. And then I've been working on another project printer that's been sitting here for a while. It's kind of deprioritized for a bit, and we've gotten it up and running. I'll be showing that off here in a minute. But for a couple of our folks, hey, Eagle the Dragon, welcome in. And here is the Abitnutz RatRig with proof of print. I will say, like I said, I had some issues. It broke loose, and it broke loose because I wasn't putting enough support in here. It didn't look like it required it, but it required it just from the standpoint of that is a little, this flexes a little bit as it starts coming up, especially the tail piece. So we did some slicing corrections. We did some manual supports. And we came out with our punk fill rat here. Let me see if we can get these supports off. Pretty decent there. The ones underneath, probably going to be a little bit harder to get off. It came off decent. Kind of concerned about this one with the way, with the way it wraps around that leg. We'll see. Oh, no concern needed. Got a little bit, if I can get it to focus, of, might help if I do that. We have a little bit of overhang sagging there. Come on. Not a lot, just a little bit. But all in all, came out really well. Eventually what I'll do is I'll reprint this again, and I'll do a second color for the jacket. And I'll probably try and do just the jacket and then leave the RatRig symbol in a different color. But yeah, overall, this pretty impressive. Came out really nice. What do you think, Abitnutz? Hey, Howie, how's it going? It didn't hurt anybody. It was getting drug around, and actually we had some customers in the store that said, hey, that printer in the back doesn't look like it's doing well. So I went over and looked at it. There's no screen on this thing, so I had to then go run back and grab my laptop to stop the print. But yeah, it pretty art though. Right now it should print the other tool head. I have not loaded anything over there yet, and we haven't done any of the XYZ calibrations between the tool heads. I've merely wanted to print and make sure that the printer is mechanically sound, that we're getting good, relatively clean prints without any major issues. Next step would be to calibrate using the VAOC, on the second tool head. And then after that, then we'll be able to start going through. We'll do the calibrations on the second tool head, flow rate, the whole 9 yards, pressure advance, and then we'll try and do a 2-color print. But that's kind of where we're at on that one. Thanks for the lurk, Bexy Beans. Hey, Mod Light. Hope you're doing well, my friend. And then I'm going to try and not make you guys sick. So I'll move the camera around. I don't know how well this is going to show off. Yeah, probably not too well. So this is a FlashForge Creator Pro 2 that I've been working on for one of our friends. It came in, it was working. The issue is that the FlashForge slicer that is available that still supports this machine is an older slicer, and you cannot set different temperatures between the two tool heads, and he really wants to print miniatures on them. So what he was trying to do is print like PLA with PHA or I'm sorry, not PHA, PVA support material, so that it's easier to clean off when you do miniatures. And the FlashForge slicer wouldn't let you do that. And Cura, when you load up Cura at the time, it only lets you print with one of the two tool heads. This is an IDEX. Okay, we do have two distinct tool heads, 2 spools of filament back here. And what I've been working on this afternoon is doing the alignment calibrations. And so a little bit of a background history on this machine. It has been flashed with Clipper. So this is not running Marlin. This is not running whatever FlashForge had on it back in the day. This is actually running Clipper now. Right now I have it set up with Clipper. We're using Cura for the slicer settings. And Cura is set up with an IDEX plugin so that we can run the 2 different tool heads and stuff. So I've been trying to tweak and play around with Cura as well as the actual printer config files to try and get this dialed in a little bit. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun because you're sitting here going through and it's like, is it actually taking my changes, yes or no? So, and I will say I'm not too fond of Cura. It's I'm just not used to it anymore, and it seems to be bogging down my computer. And when I say it seems to be bogging down my computer, let me it's gotten a little bit better. It had my GPU running at about 80% one point. It was just crazy. But yeah, Cura makes you feel stupid. Sort of, yeah. Yeah, Cura does do that. So once again, this is a FlashForge Creator Pro 2. It's the original mainboard on it that has been flashed. The firmware has been flashed to Clipper. I have a Raspberry Pi 3B sitting over here on this side of it, so I can power it off of the power on the bench, which is at this side of the bench. And the USB cable. I did block the power pin on this USB cable to make sure that we weren't doing anything weird power-wise with weird ground loops in the power. And so far, other than just trying to get everything aligned, it's working and printing very well, or good, well-ish. So one weird thing, or at least it feels weird, tool head 0 is the right tool head. Tool head 1 is the left. We're used to this one 0, this one is 1, but so be it. But yeah, we've got this one we're working on, trying to get everything dialed in so we can get it back to our bud. Hey, Star Wars bot builder. Hope you're doing well. And then the RatRig, like I said, we still need to try and work on the VAOC and get the A and B aligned. And I do know that the way the titanium shield goes onto the tube, they're a bit nuts. I did get some squish up in there around the nozzle and up in that area, so I'll have to pull that down and clean that up a little bit as well before I bring it back to you. Yeah, it might be from down under. It might be backwards because it's from down under. But yeah, I mean, Cura's not a bad slicer. It's just the fact that I have not used Cura for a long time. And that's really what it comes down to, is I just haven't used Cura in a long time. But yeah, it's going well. This is one of the things that we'll need to be doing. So we've got a VAOC on the RatRig. VAOC, of course, is the visual alignment camera tooling. So that has a Ember prototype CXC camera basically set up there in a standard position so that you have a camera always there to do your alignment. On the cell changer, you can take one and mount it in a given spot and then work all your offsets that way. Or you can do this type of test where you do the print test and make the adjustments and so forth. So we'll have to figure out how to do that. You just picked up an open box Elegoo Jupiter SE printer for $280. Well, that'll be cool. Star Wars bot builder. Yeah, that'll be cool. You love Cura, but love Orca a lot better. Just got to relearn how to use Cura. Exactly. And I have been using Orca or a derivative, right, for several years now. And it's just easy enough to use it on all of my printers. I'd like to build an Orca, or excuse me, yeah, an Orca slicer profile for this machine. I just don't know if it'll work. I do know that Orca should support IDEX because I'm using it on an IDEX right over there called a RatRig. It's just the difference is that there is a RatRig profile in Orca Slicer, and I have to create a profile for this because it's so old. So yeah. Cura bogs down PC. It is definitely bogging down this PC. It is definitely bogging it down. Yeah, my GPU has finally calmed down a little bit. It's like 26% utilization on the GPU. And that's where it's really hitting it, is on that GPU. Here is no nonsense slicer. Yes and no. Like I said, it's one of those things that Cura, it's just different, right? You can go in and play with all the settings as well. You can go into an advanced mode. But I wonder if I can we, main camera, how far down can we get it to go? There you go. A little backwards, but you'll be able to watch this. As far as using Orca 232 and above, you can comment out a line in the config file and tell it to ignore unsupported. Yes, Abitnutz. I did that. I did find that out, and I did get that changed out, so I can do either Prusa or Orca Slicer. I'm sorry, brain just kind of went out into la la land. But yeah, I did do that, and I believe, using Orca Slicer for those last couple. So that works well. Speaking of which, yeah, I think I've got that latest working profile over on the laptop. Let me go grab the laptop out of the office, and we'll get another print going over there on the RatRig as well. Orca Slicer. What would everybody like to see once again, we're only printing single color, one tool head over at the RatRig. But is there anything that anybody would like to see printed in some PLA? Because we're open air still. Abitnutz has all of the enclosure panels. Can't do anything about that. Hey, thanks for the follow, Keep 3DP. How's it going? So what we're looking at right here, this is an older printer. This is a FlashForge Creator Pro 2. We're running it via clipper off the existing main board using a Raspberry Pi 3B. The Raspberry Pi is sitting over here being externally powered right now. So I did block the power coming through the, the USB. So we're not back driving and having ground loops. Yeah, agree, Howie. So I do need to print a case for this. I'm probably going to do it in a black or a darker color just so it matches this a little bit. And what I'm going to do is I found a case that I like. I'm going to put a 5-inch display, Tech TFT 5.0, mount the Raspberry Pi behind it, and we'll be able to run power and USB connect to this, so we won't have to tether it all the time. So yeah, this is one of the machines that we've been working on in the background for a customer. He happens to be a buddy of ours, and it was one of those, hey, when you get to it, and he's asked a couple of times, it's like, okay, we need to get to it and bump it up in the queue of things to work on. Let me see, work a slicer. What do I have? Maybe out and eventually. As I'm sitting here looking, it's like I have nothing cool to print other than like parts for printers. Wow. No need to print open grid. We could print a box. Print a box. Print a lid on it. Do the lid separate. Sorry about that. Hey, Mr. Excuse, how's it going? Welcome on in. I have been streaming printer content on Twitch for about 3 years. I was cross-posting it over to YouTube, And within the last couple of months after I opened the store, I've been talked into dual streaming. So I'm currently streaming on both Twitch and YouTube. Yeah, I've been going a little bit over 3 years. Thanks to some people for talking me into it. And of course, like I said, I've been doing printer builds, and that was a lot of my content is doing 3D printer builds. Probably still not gonna. You won't see me. Kind of kick back a little, or maybe sit down and take a load off. Well, nope, still not. It's either the printer or me. So you get the printer. Yeah, you know what? Standard webcam, a mic, and go. Just take some time, enjoy it. I was so worried to start with, not because of public speaking. I've done that for a while, right? Military, you do a lot of public speaking, and you don't have a choice, so you just have to do it. But just do it, right? Take a chance. You don't have to have full content, full theme. Get the basics going and just stream, maybe do some live stream TikToks on your phone or whatever, just to try it out and see how you like it. See if you've got things that the community is willing to listen to. But normally, yeah, everybody, it's a lot of fun, and everybody comes out. Nobody really does any heckling, and if they do, most of your apps go, and you mute them, and they go away. Hey, Diablo Spawn, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. But yeah, we've got a couple of prints going. I actually have a print that's going over. I think it's still going on over here, or maybe I need to pop it off. I'm printing some bends on the +4. It's a standard, preloaded file on the +4. So I've been printing these off because they come very, very handy, especially when you have a shop. And you have printers that can turn these out left and right. So just going through and which way are we going? Printing out a bunch of these. Like I said, it's just a standard file. They can stack on one another. You can do standard dividers for it if you need to. Oh, got an ad break. So. Heckle, heckle, heckle. Exactly. There you go. Hey, ad break's over. Everybody's back. So we got a few prints going on here. I just went and pulled this off of the PD +4. If you guys remember, this is the printer that was sent to me saying, hey, the customer claims there's an issue with it that they can't solve. I think the issue was they just didn't want to pay for it. So they bought it off of Amazon. They used it for the surge that they needed to do, and then they sent it back because this thing has printed everything I've put through it, whether it's been PLA, which is what this stuff is, or glass-filled ASA. It's chewed it, and it's done great. I actually was running, we needed to test everything out to include the box. So I put 4 spools of gray, bamboo gray, basic, and we printed the Millennium Falcon from Titan 3D. fact, let me go grab that. And that printed perfectly, no issues. On your HTD, have the parts to fix it, but your tendonitis is getting bad and can't fix it. Yeah. What's the issue with the HTD? Well, you type that. I will be back in 1 second. I will go grab that print I was telling you all about. So, yeah. It may be a little bit difficult to see this, but it's definitely, turn this back around. Is this one finished? And I'll pop you guys over onto the other printer here. And this is the Millennium Falcon with its stand. I say Millennium Falcon, excuse me. It is the Titan Falcon, not a Millennium Falcon. But this goes well with the Imperial Star Destroyer or the Titan Destroyer and the Titan Fighter, which would be a TIE Fighter. But this was printed out on the +4. And, you know, I don't know about you, but that's no extruder clog. Cool thing is this piece right here can screw on and screw off, so you have your little cockpit sitting there, and you can either put one on that has the windows, or one that the windows are opaque on, so you can just paint them black or whatever. But this lets you go in and see. Cool file. I really like the files that I've been getting from Titan 3D. So Titan3D.com, we've done a lot of their files. We did the, this is the Falcon. We've got the Destroyer. We've got the aircraft carrier, if you guys remember that one. We did the Titan Trio PALs, which are over there past the power claws, right underneath that window there. Those files are no longer available. They were asked kindly to take down the Mario Brothers stuff. And they did. Hey, Martin, how's it going? It's several parts. So the main section of the Titan Falcon is 4 pieces. The 2, I'll say front pincer pieces are separate pieces that are printed on the same plate. And then there's a central piece, and the turrets and stuff are there. And then it just all screws together with, it all screws together with 3D printed screws and plates is what holds it together. So I really like the way that those are done. You jumped in for a few minutes at the right point. That was one of those great, yeah. that is a great looking model. And I need to bring the TIE Fighter in. I think there's one piece I need to reprint on it. And it's the stand, not even the TIE Fighter itself. So I'll bring that in and add it to the collection here at the store. And then, hey, Waters, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. What has Diablo Spawn been doing? So we've got a print started over here on the RatRig. It's so the RatRig on Rat OS 2.1. It does a lengthy heat soak, and I do mean lengthy. It's what are we looking at here? About it's almost like a 10-minute soak, but here's the thing: because it's done a heated mesh compensation, in this case at 60 degrees, because we've been doing PLA. You can do them for different temperatures and save them that way. But what it's doing is it does a tap on the nozzle when it does the homing and Z-tilt adjust. Okay. Now it's coming down within I think it's 5 millimeters, and it's doing that heat soak period. And what it's heat soaking at is the heater bed is at 55 degrees and the extruder is at 150. And it's barely off. So it's letting the beacon probe kind of heat up. The beacon probe itself is right around 57 degrees Celsius right now. So that way when it does the bed mesh using the beacon, it's got that heat compensation built into it. And I have gotten great first layers. I haven't needed to do any Z adjust on that printer since we've got it printed or built and started to print. But they do have a new launch. The launch is the 1st, right? The A2L launch was on the 1st. You're thinking about putting a heater in it? I do have the the air filtration. There is an air filtration that I have mounted right down here on the bottom, kind of right on the back panel. And that's going to help, one, circulate the air, which will circulate that ambient air in the chamber. And I also have a Stealth Max, which is the Nevermore Stealth Max, that you can put in it as well. Correct, it's Monday, yeah. And then the other thing while we're waiting on that to start is we've got a FlashForge Creator Pro 2. Waters, you may have seen this been moving around in the back area a lot. It was on the floor for quite a while. This is running Clipper on the actual FlashForge board. And what I've been doing is just doing the IDEX alignment prints. So I think we're almost there. See, X offset that is killing me. Yeah, the X offset between the tool heads is the one I'm still fighting with. And I'm trying to do it in the slicer, and there's a part of me that just wants to say the heck of doing it in the slicer and do it in the actual firmware. But I was hoping I could get it dialed in the slicer. And then, you know, fix it in the firmware once I get it dialed in the slicer. Guys back over here looking at the RatRig. Should be about ready to start. But yeah, we're running Clipper on the built-in board and a Raspberry Pi 3B. We'll print an enclosure for the Raspberry Pi and set it off on the side. But it'll be a standalone enclosure with a display on it, so he'll have basically a Clipper screen, similar to like what the Positron does. But this might be one of the same type of tests that we'll be using on the Stealth Changer to line up the tools with tool 0 and let us do all the offsets to tool 0. But yeah, we've been, for whatever reason, Cura's like bogging down my streaming rig. It is definitely a resource hog. And then, like over on the laptop, I have to keep an eye on it when I start slicing because it uses the Hydra rendering service whenever you open up a 3D file on the Mac, and it will take up 100% of your CPU and just churn on it in the background as a background service. And next thing you know, all of a sudden, like your laptop battery life just goes into nothing. Hey, we're going to start printing over here. And once again, it does nozzle probing for Z-tilt and homing. And then when it comes back to do the bed, it will do the beacon mesh. But from the leaks that I've seen being posted left and right now, it looks like the announcement from Bamboo is going to be the A2L, which is, hey, imagine that, an A-series bed flinger. It looks like it's still just single nozzle, just a larger just a larger build volume. So not sure how that plays into the ecosystem, but you know, is what it is. Wonder, since we have both of them going, there we go. We'll show both printers. So we've got the RatRig. What it's doing right now is it's heating up the nozzle to temp, and it's just kind of doing some dabbing to, oh, what am I thinking of? It's dabbing it to make sure that it was clean before it comes over and does the final calibration. Three Musketeers has a preview on. Yeah, there's several people that have previews on it. Hopefully they fix the power board. I hope so too. Especially since I've been seeing comments on A1's catching fire again. Speaking about things catching fire, I just swapped my my Creality K1C back to the stock extruder. I had the DXC extruder on it, and the gentleman that's going to buy it I have his K1C in here doing a tune-up service on it, and the goal is to have them both loaded with the same files. So if they need something printed for like race day, right? Because they do Z cars and other types of racing, RC racing, they can just, you know, hit and print and go between him and his son. So I wanted to make sure that they were back to stock so that it would work either way for them. And in the process of doing that, I was looking at the tool head board and noticed that the green and white wires to the tool head board, which is a weird, it's not microfit. It kind of looks like a big JST. But the power and ground were fine, but the green and the white wires coming in, which is the data, which I'm assuming is CAN bus, could be USB, could be CAN bus. It was almost like the insulation was caught at some point and sliced open. It hadn't arced or anything like that. It would be low voltage for the comm lines anyhow. And so I depinned it, and I depinned them one at a time. So I made sure that they stayed in the same order and just put some heat shrink tubing over them. And then redid the wire restraints on it so that it's good to go. HY connectors in the Gen 2 tool head board. I really don't know. It's a connector I'm not familiar with, but it could be an HY2. But once again, this is the Creality K1C board. And let me bring you all in, see if it will. Dog dude. I know it's just the angle, but yeah. Get you some. Oh, I was like, why does it look like its first layer's bad? It's not. It's actually where the it's like a rugged. What this is this was a box that we did for one of our friends that he could put all of his like colored pencils and his like chalks in and stuff. So if he gets, and he can keep it in his backpack so that if he's out and about and inspiration hits him, he can just pull it out and start doing some drawings. So that's what this is, and that's where the rugged locking clips would go. So that is good first layer going down there, by the way. They did a revision on the K1 hot end and tool head and swapped to a different connector in certain places. You believe it's standard JST and the other is an HY2. Yeah, this is so they're JST style all over, you know, with the little connectors for the hot end and the extruder and stuff like that. They're just different. They're those like PH size, but this may be the HY20 for the main connector at the tool head board. Diablo Spawn, sent you a DM in Discord with the ad you placed for the HTD. All right, cool. Cool. I try not to bring up Discord during the channel just because it freaking dings incessantly. But yeah, I've been, like I said, just trying to do some prints. And like I said, this was just me printing unsupported. And so the tail kept knocking it. I don't know if you can see that flex there, right? And so this would get hung and knocked, and it finally broke loose, and it was just dragging it around, blobbing up. And then once I went in and resliced it and we did some more supports on it, we got the beautiful RatRig Punk Fill mascot done. So once we get the second tool head dialed in, we'll go ahead and print him, and I'll do the main jacket in a second color. This will all still be the regular color, and then this will be the second color in the jacket. But yeah, so far it's a good day. We're getting some good prints down. The KDQ2, we had sold a KDQ2. It came back throwing an abnormal auxiliary fan error, which is the 120 millimeter fan on the side. We wound up just unboxing and getting him set up with another one, and he went home with that. He's been happy with it. We haven't heard anything back from him since then, so I will reach back out and make sure he's still doing good. But what we're going to do with that Q2 is we did get the new auxiliary fan in. We did get that fan replaced. Haven't had any problems with it since, other than me slicing and making the pins and slots apparently way off. So this will be the better one. So this is a servo skull that I will have to reprint because, once again, the pins are way too long for the depth holes that I created. And then I broke the spire off the top. But it still kind of looks cool separated like that, so I'm going to leave it. And I will reslice it and reprint it so we get a good servo skull out of it. But yeah, that Q2 works great. So it's going to be the first one that we're going to absorb. Looks like my ex-mother-in-law. Sorry, dude. The sad part is all of my exes, I got along great with their mother-in-laws, or my mother-in-laws, so their moms. And most of them I can't stand anymore. But yeah. Anyhow, that KDQ2 is going to go in the back on our line, and we're going to start systematically replacing our Elegoo Centauri carbons in the back. So if you are in North Carolina and you're looking for a broken in Elegoo Centauri carbon, Elegoo Centauri carbon 1, I've got 4 of them, actually 6 of them I'm going to swap out, but 4 of them are mine, 2 of them belong to Evil Diesel. I believe I'm looking at 200 a piece for them. Sounds like a good round number. We're going to go through and do our tune-up service on them. So walk through them, look at the tool heads, make sure that the tool heads are good to go, that there's no clogs in the hot ends or anything like that. We'll make sure that that's good. We'll clean and grease all of the motion system and grease it, oil it on the rods, make sure everything's good to go, and they'll be ready for sale. And if anybody is going to Midwest RepRat Festival and may be interested in one, let me know, and I will bring one or two with me. I prefer not to drive two vehicles, but if I need to bring printers, I will. Because this big boy, the RatRig, I'll have to disconnect the bed and lay it on its side, but it will be going with me so that we can try and get it back to Abitnutz so he doesn't have to drive it out here or drive back out here to pick it up. And Abitnutz, I will be reaching out to you and seeing if I can give you a list of things that I would like to keep out of the box of goodies that you brought. You just got home, so you're going to eat dinner with, yes, spend time with the wifey there, Waters. And thanks for chatting with Mrs. Dragon earlier. Appreciate that. Who is that? Keep 3DP. You actually get to go to Murph. The powder coating class I was going to take fell through. Oh, well, that stinks, but, you know, glad that you get to go to Murph. And yes, very excited that it's going to be, that most things are going to be in the AC building this year. And also Abitnutz. I went ahead and bought the 4.1 kit. Now, granted, everything that's up here on the top and the O2S boards, I probably could have just grabbed from you and purchased from you. The only thing that I definitely needed, though, would have been the steel cross member. And I don't know if they would have sold this to me separately, but I like RatRig. I like their products, so I have no problem paying for it. But yeah. So I got that stuff. I printed the tool head stuff because I'm still running the Rapido 2 hot ends on mine. And I printed all of, so it's basically stock. Not basically, it is stock, right? The printed parts that I printed out to replace, or when I do the upgrade, because the printed parts need to change around. Ready? Check these out. Right. Any idea what these are printed in? Any guesses on what those parts are printed in? Hey, Timor. I see you over there. TPS-CF, good, but good guess, but no. Looks somewhat exotic, yeah. So Abitnutz, the stuff when I printed the parts that I needed to print for your tool heads, because I did need to print the new part cooling ducts for yours, as well as some of the other parts. Most of what I printed for you was PCCF. Okay, so polycarbonate carbon fiber. Might have been some ABS carbon fiber as well, but I believe most of yours was PCCF. Okay. For mine, the parts that I printed there, and I still need to do some of the other O2S board, like uprights and stuff. The parts that I just showed off were Tech PET CF. Okay, so it's PET, PET CF by Tech. I've been playing around with some of that. I've got PET CF by Tech, Edie, and Bamboo Lab. So I have been, I am looking at printing with some of that stuff with the different words on stream. Trying to get some of that, trying to print between some of that. The Tech is personal stock. The Kitty is personal stock. The Bamboo is actually stuff that I bought for the shop. And I've got it listed. It's not out on the shelf yet because I'm going to have to find a dedicated place. I'm fearful of somebody getting it thinking it's PET G and it's not. So PET G, depending on who you get it through, will print anywhere from 220-ish up to 250, 260. The PET CF is going to print at 290 up. So, and it's CF, so you need to make sure you have a hardened nozzle. I do have hardened nozzles in my machines. They're the standard Cheaty bimetal nozzles, and I will be swapping out on the Q2. I have tungsten carbide nozzles that I've been buying for my Q2s, and I'm now stocking Kitty Tech Q2 bimetal nozzles in 0.4, 0.6, and 0.8 in 2-packs, as well as 0.4, 0.6, 0.8 bimetal 2-packs for the Max 4. And I have tungsten carbide nozzles for the Q2 series in 0.6 and 0.8. And those are singles. Yeah, it is good high temp stuff, Abitnutz. I was watching some of the comparisons that Scott, Edge of 3D, has been doing. And PET seems to be like a pretty solid high temp material. And of course, PET is also chemically resistant for a lot of chemicals. So it's another good thing to use in automotive applications or anything that's like one of the use cases that we're dealing with right now is our local firefighters. Me and both Jedi Spidey, aka WebForce Designs down in Fayetteville, we're dealing with some of our local firefighters and volunteer firefighters. So they keep some gear in their vehicles or in the trucks So it's going to need to be stuff that is high temp tolerant, especially down here in North Carolina, and being in a fire truck that's sitting out, that could potentially be sitting out in the open, not just sitting in the firehouse, but also going out to different environments where fires, other chemicals and stuff could be present. So we need stuff that's high temp tolerance and chemical tolerant as well. So I'm trying to play around with it, see where it's best suited for various properties. And of course, 3D printers are definitely going to allow us to play around with the high temp environments as well when we're dealing with all of our enclosed printers and stuff. Especially enclosed printers, when you put like rapidos, tubes, stuff like that, and you're going to be printing exotic materials in them. Let's see where we're at on this one. Like, I don't get it. Something I am missing. And I'm just wondering, because I keep making changes in the slicer and I'm not seeing any change being reflected in the print itself. So I think what I'm going to do is go in and change it in the offsets in the actual G-code macro. So you do a positive in X is what this is telling me, and negative 0.3 for the Y. Save and restart, and then we'll reprint this using the same exact G code as last time and see if we get a different result now. And by the way, this is a spring steel plate that I'm using here. This is a spring steel plate with, it's basically a, BuildTech surface, and it is a pretty solid build plate, let me tell you. Pretty solid build plate. So what I did now was I actually made the changes for the offsets in the actual printer config file versus trying to do it by software, because the software, I've changed it like 4 times and it hasn't made any significant change in the print. So I think it's going to be just needing to be done in the firmware. I do have PPCF, by the way, or PPSCF. I can do that. I have done that in the past. PPSCF, I would like to anneal it. You can anneal PET, but I haven't checked for shrinkage yet. And really, looking at Scott stuff, like I said, this is a Soraya-Tech filament. And they do make great filament, by the way, Abitnutz. It is outstanding filament. It prints beautifully. Yeah, it is definitely, it can be very, very hot. Like right now, we're dealing with some heat, and since our 2 back rooms are not air conditioned, the only air conditioned space is this main, I'll say the sales floor commercial space and the office. The back room, right back this way, has a slop sink in it. And at some point, one of the previous tenants, it looks like, had cleaned concrete out or some type of mortar out in that slop sink. And it gets ripe. It has been getting ripe the last couple of days. So I'm about to throw some enzyme stuff down in there to see if we can't get some of that broken down. And then we got some other stuff that'll go after the concrete a little bit and see if we can't break some of that down as well. But yeah, it's definitely, because I am down at the lower ends. I think we're literally about 100 feet above sea level or less where I am in North Carolina. Mountains be a little bit nicer right now, but like right now it's 74 degrees. Today I want to say it was 85 according to my watch. So it can get a little toasty, and we're not like by July and August it's going to be rough here. So we're going to be looking at possibly getting a portable AC unit for the back right now, because this room back here, and I'll have Evil Diesel post some pictures up, but we're custom building a table for our D&D crew. And it's all aluminum extrusion. We'll have an LCD flat screen TV that we're going to mount down into it. And then we'll have wood all the way around the edge to make the player's table. And the nice thing about it is we have a courtyard out back, and I know Abitnutz knows all this. And we'll bring one of our grills over here, and we'll actually be able to grill out there. So I'll probably have people start showing up about 5:36 to start grilling. And we close this shop at 7. So we'll have dinner and stop doing DoorDash every night. We'll just start cooking stuff on the grill, which will be nice. We can cook lunch as well out there. But we'll have a grill set up out there in the courtyard. And then when wintertime comes, we'll get some type of propane, one of those propane heaters, and set up out there as well with a separate propane tank. So we can still use it out there in the wintertime. I actually thought about, and I'll have to double check. I thought at one point that I had bought some of the shade sails from IKEA, but I need to see if that's something that I could set up out there to get some shade as well. So we can have a place to sit down and maybe not get snowed on completely. But that'll be a down the road type of thing. But I definitely hope everybody's doing well this evening. I know I keep missing the Makers podcast that Projects and Dad's Garage does on Friday nights, because we're doing our D&D on Friday nights. And I'm telling you, Math Rocks is on Friday nights is our outlet right now, because with the week some of us have been having, because a couple of our folks work out on base, and it's just, rough weeks. So we need the outlet for hanging out and having fun. But I will show you some of the other stuff I was working on. So, as I said, I've got the nozzles, and they shipped all the nozzles, even though you buy them in 2-packs, they shipped them all to me individually. So I did have to go and add them back to a 2-pack. So I got to playing with one of my other label makers. and we went out and bought some bags, so we now have all of our nozzles labeled and bagged up. So if anybody needs them and needs to order them and wants to order them from the US, instead of having to order them on Kitty's website and getting them shipped from overseas or out of Canada, because that's where some of my stuff has been coming to me from, has been Canada. If you need them here in the US, I've got them and can ship them. Hey, Rivals Moments, how's it going? Welcome on in. It's kind of a crazy night today on stream. So we're doing some additional printing on the RatRig. That's what you're seeing over here. It is doing a rather large brim on the item. I think we've probably got like a 8mm brim on it because it is a large flat piece. But this is just a rugged box, right? We're trying to print and just break in the motion system on the RatRig some. I do need to go through and review all the steps for the VAOC alignment procedure again. And in the back, right, back behind the tool head, right off the center center rear bed mount, we have what we call the VAOC. It's got a Chicago bolt style plunger for the Z, and that will help us get our Z offsets set between the two tool heads. And then right next to it, it has a camera, and that camera system is basically a CXC from Ember Prototypes. Sorry, one second. Oh, it's one of the fans that's one. And what it'll do is that will allow us to align the nozzles in the XY plane between the two tool heads. And once we can do that, it can automatically calculate the offsets and add that to your printer config file so that when we do an IDEX print, they should be lined up when we do a 2-color print. And also, if it'll then allow us to do copy mode and mirror mode a lot easier. So that's kind of the stock setup that we have over there. If you stock some E3D high flow 500 nozzles, you'll have set up financing for. You'll have to set up financing for many of us. So, funny enough, if Waters was still here, I forgot to say thank you. Somebody over at Ecovate sent somebody my way today, and they bought some conch hot ends, specifically because they have an E3D Obsidian nozzle on their X1C that is clogged and boogered up. So they came over and got some Fadis conch hot ends, the Conch Plus, which are encoded in silicon carbide tips. But I will let you know that I also have alpha nozzles. These are the V6 alpha nozzles in 0.6 and 0.4. So super duper high temp here, and I believe these are tungsten carbide tips. So I do have the alpha nozzles here if you also want to, take out loan terms. I do need to talk with Fadis because I also want to get the Rapido X. I tried to get part of the beta test for that and didn't get selected, but I do want to reach out to them and get those in stock soon. maybe swap my RatRig from Rapido hot ends over to the Rapido X. And by the way, hey Bearded Printer, welcome on in. Hey Liz, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. So what you see down here in the bottom right hand corner, this is another IDEX printer. It's a bit older, it's a bit smaller. This is a FlashForge Creator Pro 2. This is an IDEX. This has been clipperized. It was fully functioning, still is fully functioning obviously, but it was a fully functioning printer, but the customer in this case was having issues with the fact that they want to do miniatures on this, right? Tabletop miniatures. And FlashForge software holds both nozzles at the same temperature, meaning he was trying to print with PLA and using PVA for supports, and PVA prints at a lower temp. It was cooking in the nozzle and blobbing every time he tried to do a print. So what we did, I have a full setup, and by full setup I mean Big Tree Tech Manta M8 board with a CB1 module, fully set up. But before I went through, I mean, I even did a mount for it that would adapt this to the mounting on the build or on the printer itself, and this would have been an all-in-one solution. But I would have had to redone all of the connections, which means it would never go back to stock very easily. And I found somebody that has converted this to Clipper. So I had to use a STEM32 programmer module. One of these, right? I'll do this over here. This is a ST-Link V2. Okay. USB and DuPont pins done appropriately for your particular board. And I was able to clipperize the stock board, which is, it is a STEM32 board, so it's fully capable. We went ahead and put Clipper on it. We got our Raspberry Pi set up, and then we're actually running this Clipper full mainsail right now. And we're using Cura with an IDEX plugin to actually run IDEX mode, and it'll allow for copy and mirror mode as well. The great grandfather to the Creator 5, yes. And I have worked on some FlashForges, some Kitty, I think it's a Kitty X Plus, which is this same exact chassis. It's also an IDEX for my DM. And then we also had one for my my landlord. I believe it was a FlashForge, but rather than being IDEX, it was a dual nozzle setup. So it's single tool head with dual nozzles and extruders, so slightly different. And what we're doing down here is, because we don't have some of the luxuries over here, we're doing test print to dial in the alignment. And we may do this for the Stealth Changer as well, using the same print. I believe this is the same one that Nero was using, Canuck Creator, as he was dialing in his Stealth Changer tool heads. So we'll be doing some of those. But hey, Kit Skyfire, welcome in. Yeah, it is a scary process when you're using those ST links, because it is a low-level format. And if you booger it up, you brick a board. And you may not be able to unbrick it either. So it is a little scary sometimes using that ST-Link. And I've used it on several different boards. So no, you don't need to move closer to me, Abitnutz. I can ship. Now, I mean, we do have CHT nozzles here, right? You wanted CHT nozzles. We do have CHT nozzles 0.4 on your machine right now. If you really want the alphas, they're about, what are they, like $75, $80 a piece? So digitaldragon3d.com. Here, I'll put it in the chat. And I'll get it copied for both chats. So that's the website, digitaldragon3d.com. That's the website for the store. And yeah, we can ship. Shipping, if you need something shipped, you're going to have to reach out and send us an email through the info or through the system and say, hey, can you ship this to XYZ? You can go ahead and pay for your items, or you can just hold off and say, hey, I want XYZ shipped here, and we can figure out and do a full invoice for you. Our shipping integrations, all of our shippers are in the process of switching their OAuth, or however they're doing their connection to Odoo. So that keeps breaking on us. But we are working to get that squared away and get that capability across all of our vendors, or all of our shipping vendors, I should say. But we got, yeah, the alpha nozzles are $75 a piece. The Key, like I said, the Key nozzles are there, the H2. I can't get those induction nozzles. I need to restock those. Jedi Spidey came in and bought me out. So I will need to get some more of those induction nozzles. But yeah, like I said, the Key Max nozzles are here. The tungsten carbide nozzles for the Q2 are here. Those are $60 each, but tungsten carbide gonna last for a while unless you're mean to things. And the Creator 5, I am placing an order for some of those here. And I'm going to pay to have one airshipped to me so that I can try and get one and play with it before I get them for everybody else. If I put diamond nozzles on the rat ring, I'd have to buy the wife a diamond necklace. Probably so, Abitnutz. Probably so. And I need to be careful that I don't get on your wife's bad side, because she'll talk to my wife and then we'll both be in the doghouse. Everyone ready for Murph? I am ready for Murph. We will be taking the RatRig with us. If anybody is interested in a slightly used Elegoo Centauri Carbon for about $200, let me know. We can come to terms and I will transport them to Murph with me. You just got to let me know how many I'm bringing. I've got 6 total here. 4 of them are mine, 2 of them are Evil Diesels. I had put one of the going to say E3D. It's not E3D. Oh, SE3D. He does a lot of Centauri Carbon videos. I've got one of his V1 tool head covers on one of them. I can return it to stock. And then one of mine has the Cosmos, Open Centauri Cosmos firmware on it. But once again, can easily return it to stock if so desired, or if you want Cosmos on there, I can leave it on there. Yep, I get to go now. Yeah, yeah, and I am not going to have a table this year. I'm not planning on having a table. Okay. My plan is to go and enjoy the show and talk to some of my vendor friends, both one, to talk about getting stock for my store, and two, to talk to them about just vendor specific stuff for shows, right? I need to understand more about what it means to sell at a show, and some of those implications from a business standpoint before I start doing it as a vendor. I'm not, yeah, more time to relax and get hugs. Exactly, Liz. I want to go and actually not be tied to a table this year and go visit with friends, vendors, and so forth. And then I'm not 100% sure about 3D Printopia, and whether or not we're even going to be going to 3D Printopia or not. I'll have to see, because I am going to go to FormNext again. I am already planning for FormNext later in this fall, winter. You're designing your maker chip. Is it cheating to do a maker chip on the XL plus Ufimate E1? Nope. However you can get them done, get them done. You know, whether you do a QR code, no QR code, NFC embedded, NFC sticker, you know, you do you. You've never been to Murph, you're looking forward to it. So are you going to Murph Abitnutz? Because like I said, I will bring the RatRig with me to Murph, so you don't have to drive all the way out here. And I can either meet you somewhere in Ohio on the way there, the way back, or meet you at the show if you want to come to the show and pick it up from me at the show. Either way. Either way. Double approval, yep. Yep. Clean my spectacles a little bit, and then I'll take a look at the print over here on the FlashForge and see if it got better or worse when I made changes in the actual firmware. Like, I seriously think I understand how I'm supposed to be looking at this and making the adjustments, but I swear it's almost like it's trying to compensate and say, no, dog, I'm not going to do that today. So it looks like I need to go into the positive on X, which makes sense based on how I measured initially. I need to go negative on the Y. Our Z is perfectly fine at the moment. We're not going to mess with Z. Got that load. We're going to do a save and restart to reset our, so what I'm doing here is we're taking this print and we're seeing where our lines line up. And it looks like it lines up so that the blue center lines here are from the first extruder, which is the right, and then the yellow is from the left extruder. What we're doing is on the Y, it looks like this is 0, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, and that's where it looks like it lines up. So negative 0.3, and then the X, it looks like it starts lining up way over here on the right, which would be a +1. So I'm going to try and make those adjustments again. And I did a save and restart. Once again, I'm not making a change with the G code. I'm making a change in the firmware settings now, because it seemed like every time I was making changes in the G code, it didn't seem like it was actually doing anything. So we just did a restart, a firmware restart, so it should have loaded the new configs. And I'm just going to send that print again and see where we're at on that. Yeah, and it looked, so funny enough, how it told me to do it was to put some duct tape on the bed and move the two tool heads to the same coordinates, and then lower it to the bed, and it should make an imprint on the duct tape, which is a little bit soft, and we'll give some more. No imprint. I couldn't tell an imprint on it. So what I finally did was I did it, and I turned the nozzle up to 100 degrees C and touched it. And then I brought the oven over and did the same thing. Got it lined up, got it up to 100 C, brought it down into the tape, brought it back up, and I noticed it was a couple of millimeters off in the X and just a little bit in the Y. So I tried to make those adjustments by, measuring and, measuring with this. And apparently I'm still playing with it. It's always the software that's always the fun side of getting these things lined up. So yeah. You just got a repair tech to come to your house next Saturday to fix the H2D for $65. Sweet. That's sweet. Yeah, so what we would have had you do if you were close enough is bring it in. Our bench fee is $75. And that includes diagnostics and the first 2 hours of labor. And if we had to buy parts, we would talk to you and say, hey, these are the parts, here's the diagnostic results, here's the parts we would need to get, and you can either get them or we could get them. And, we work on it from there. Now the H2D, if they have to tear that tool head down, oof. Because the folks over at Ecovate have done it, and it's like 6 hours to tear the tool head completely apart, depending on what you need to do. You like to pick it up at the show and use it as an excuse to get a MRF? There you go. Sounds great. We'll meet you at the show then, Abitnutz. We will bring the printer. Like I said, I will take that bed off because I'm going to have to lay the printer on its side. I'm pretty sure. I don't think it will go in the wife's car without it. And I would much rather not have that bed that can move around as much. So I will do that. And we'll get everything else. It might go in standing up. I'll double check. But I know it will not go in the back of the truck. My 300 won't get in the door into the back seat of the truck. So it's going to go up enclosed in a vehicle one way or the other. But when you did your SC, you just built the sex ball and used macros to do the offsets. Did the printed test to verify that. Yes, so I do have the sex ball. Did you mount your sex ball in the front or the back? Well, you weren't living in Arizona. Yeah. There's Tinkering Techie. Yeah, Tinkering Techie has been working on getting his dialed in. I really need to get the stealth changer back on the bench and start working on that. Now that this one's getting closer to going back to the customer and I've got some of the other work done, I'm going to be moving both K1Cs into a holding pattern, waiting for that customer, which should be picking it up here either this week or early next week. And we'll be doing some stealth changer work here soon. Now that we're getting into the calibration phase on many of these, it'll come back around onto the bench. It's got to. Yeah, you mounted yours on the front along with the nozzle brush. Right now I have the nozzle brush in the back, and I'm thinking about bringing the nozzle brush and the sex ball, or the sex ball is currently physically mounted on the front right now, but I need to do that in the brush on the front and then start making those adjustments, because the sex ball is mounted, but it's not electrically plumbed yet. So I need to do that change and get that added and then update my config a bit. So Tinkering Techie, if you're interested in sending me your printer config for that, that would be great. Move your bed back some so you can mount it on the front. Okay, good. Front left or front right? Yeah, I saw you say that on the last stream, Tinkering Techie. That's awesome. Congrats. Brush to the front left, ball to the front right. Okay, good to know. Good to know. All right, thanks, Tinkering Techie. I appreciate that. And then yeah, Abitnutz, definitely we will get that printer to you one way or another at Midwest RatRig Festival. And like I said, we were planning on just taking one car. It's just going to be me and Mrs. Dragon. Eel Diesel staying behind. Yeah, he's just got he's got to take care of kiddo, and so he'll be staying behind this go around. And then if we need to take both vehicles because we're able to find some new homes for the Centauri carbons, then we'll do that. We can sort through what you want out of the part stash. Yeah, well, I'll chat with you on that via Discord or messages or email, whatever. Yeah. How about this? Is there anything in your part stash that's off limits? I'm pretty sure not. I believe Mrs. Dragon had said that your wife may have told her that if none of this stuff comes back other than the printer, she might be happy with that. I doubt if you would be, but yeah, the other thing too, Abitnutz, is on your rear CNC bed arm from Mandala Roseworks. Is that an older version? Because it's weird. It's got the depression cut out for the VAOC, but it doesn't have the holes drilled and tapped on the side for the pass-through, the long pass-through nuts, or bolts. You sure there's stuff that I don't want? Possibly. I thought so, but like I said, it's weird because it doesn't have any drilled or tapped screw holes on that side. Hey, Mad Dog Jeff, how's it going? Managed to catch you live for once in a while. Good to see you. Yeah, good to see you too. We're actually just printing and calibrating. So on the RatRig, which is the big camera view, the main camera view, we're printing just a large box, right? It's the box that we did for a friend. I'm going to print all the parts for it. Like I said, I'm just trying to push plastic and work the motion system some. These are brand new belts. They're 1.5 GT belts. And we're going fairly slow. You see that I'm not like trying to push crazy accels or anything like that. I think Abitnutz is kind of with the same mantra as me. Get it working and get it working reliably. Speed can be the detriment to dialing in and getting reliable prints. So get it printing reliably. Then we can go and start pushing some speed, right? That's I'll say an afterthought to the process. That could work, Tinkering Techie. The piece I'm also going to need is like initial location for the like your scrubber and your sex ball. Because that should get me in the 90% ballpark on where mine would go, because you've got a 300 as well, I believe. Keep 3DJ. I was able to score a 2.4 R2 300 for $500 tonight on Marketplace. Dude, that would be awesome. Even if it required some work. I mean, $500 for a 2.4 300 is fabulous. Even if you wound up having to take it all apart and reprint parts and put it back together, that's worth it. All right, cool. Thanks, Tinkering Techie. Yeah, we're... hey, Spidey, how's it going? Were your ears burning? We were talking about you earlier. All right, sounds good, Tinkering Techie. And Spidey, I need to zip some files and send you some files if you're willing to do that file trade again. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, we've got the RatRig printing over, single tool head mode right now. I still haven't done the XYZ offset calibration between T0 and T1 on that printer. The other printer that you're seeing down here in the bottom right-hand corner, this is the FlashForge Creator Pro 2. This is a older IDEX printer. It's about like 200 by 150 by 150 build volume. This one has been clipperized. So the, and I clipperized the original board on it, right? We used a STEM32 programmer and programmed that board for clipper, and I'm running a Raspberry Pi 3B right over here, just sitting loosely on the desk right now. And I've got to print a case for it, and what I want to do is I'll put a 5-inch TFT display with the Raspberry Pi on the back side of it, and it'll be a standalone, you know, you'll have to run power and the USB cable to the printer still. Power to the Raspberry Pi, USB cable to the printer still, but it'll work. So the screen on the printer is useless right now with it in clipper mode. It just can't work, non-compatible. But we will be able to get a screen for this for the end customer. And as you can see, it's obviously printing in dual color IDEX mode right now, as we're trying to get the alignments between the two tool heads doing manual printing. She makes a lot of noise. But she is doing the boot, scoot, and boogie over there. So both printers are printing with Bamboo Labs basic PLA right now. The RatRig has cyan on it, and the FlashForge is printing with blue, and I believe it's sunflower yellow. So just now bringing boxes upstairs, 2 boxes of 4. Box 2 of 4. Dude, hopefully that wasn't sitting in the car this whole time. So Spidey came and bought 4 boxes of, and I mean 4 cases of filament Friday. Okay, so it was inside the house. She was finally bringing it upstairs. Hey, DJ Midnight Owl, how are you doing? Yeah, he came over and bought a bunch of filament the other day, and it was funny because he came over and ransacked the shelves, and Mrs. Dragon was like, I just stocked that. And she had to come back over and restock a bunch of stuff, but it was funny. It was funny. It's always good having Spidey come by and chit-chat for a while as well. Makes Fridays go by so much faster. Don't stab the bag. Oh no, don't stab the bag. Unless they're bamboo spools, because you have no choice, you have to stab the bag. You don't think your wife realizes that they sell stuff at Murph? They do. That's normally where I go and spend money at Atomic and get a bunch of Atomic filament. 3D Fuel, I bought a bunch of 3D Fuel stuff at Murph as well. I normally just do, I wind up doing, well, I say I wind up doing, I do a lot of filament haul at Murph, but the last couple of years I've also done printers. I think last year we came home with like 3 Prusa Mark IIIs, and well, I brought a printer to Chewy when we did Chewy's build we brought a couple of printers and the auto eject last year, and we did a box turtle build at the show. And then, yeah, we brought a bunch of filament home and a few printers that we bought from MakerMind Nexus, Dan Borio, and also Mark 3S that we bought off of KB3D, part of his Phillips-Shooter stuff. Hey, Projects in Dad's Garage, how you doing? Just stopping by to say hi. Awesome. Why are you over on Twitch and not over on YouTube, dude? Just busting on you. You have an Infomec TX Anycubic Cobra 3 Max that need new homes. There you go. Has anybody been paying attention to the Infomec, the MX? I think they have an MX and an EX out now that are pretty interesting looking. But yeah. Hey, Zombie, how's it going? Yes, the RatRig Liz. The RatRig has been printing. We had a guffaw. I was supporting this little foot part, but I was not supporting this tail, and the tail kind of bends a lot, and it broke free, and we were just blobbing it. And this was the print that we did earlier today. And once I get the second tool head aligned and everything, I'll swap this jacket over to another color. So the rat will be one color, the RatRig symbol will be the same color as the rat, and then the jacket will be the off color, off the second tool head. Right now we're just printing a box and pushing some filament through to break in the system some. These are brand new belts, and several of the pulleys are brand new, and the motors are all new. So we're just putting some time on it, so to speak. And I'll work on doing the VAOC and getting the second tool head aligned here, hopefully this weekend. Over here, down here in the bottom right, we've been working on a FlashForge Creator Pro that has been clipperized, and I'm trying to get the tool heads aligned. And I will say that I have at least seen a difference now on this print. I am seeing a difference, and I'm wondering if I'm going, we'll say, the wrong direction. So we're making changes in the firmware. And what I'm going to do is reverse the offsets that I had put in and make them, you know, positive versus negative, negative versus positive, or what have you. You have an Ender 3 S1 Pro with a 7-inch screen clipper and BTT Eddy that might need a new home then? Nice. Yeah, you wish you could drive so you could come home with a bunch of stuff like I do. Of course, my wife's going to be like, you do not need to come home with anything. Do not come home with anything. And I'm going to be going, I need filament. I don't necessarily want to come home with printers. I want to come home with filament. Because I'm already going to be staring at a printer project. Because at some point, I'm going to have a Venture XL come once Fabrico gets them in. We're going to have a Venture XL, and we are going to put the Kraken, Big Tree Tech Kraken board in it. I have Kraken motors, but I've heard that the motors are actually pretty decent in it. And thanks for whoever got the hype train started there. Let's see, Keep 3D. Thank you for subscribing to Tier 1. And Zombie for the resubscribe. I appreciate it, my friend. You've been following me for 32 months. That's kind of crazy. You want a big screen on the RatRig? I think there's a 10-inch. There is a 10-inch in the pile. There is a 10-inch screen here. Now, my question for you, do you want the screen mounted on the printer, or do you want the screen as a standalone style screen? Because yes, you did provide a WaveShare 10-inch display. Whoops. So we can put a WaveShare on it. That's definitely no problem. The question is how you want it connected up. Yes, mounting it on the printer would impact the enclosure because the enclosure panels mount directly to the extrusion, and the top should be a these corner brackets you put on. We'll have to take those off, and the top actually magnetizes to the top of the printer, and the front door magnetizes to the front. You would literally like grab it by the handles and pull it off at the front. So I don't see an easy way of mounting the screen, and I can show you pictures. I'll take some pictures of mine and send them to you. It would almost be better to have it sit on the side. You're putting an eddy on your SVO8. Nice. Yeah, that size printer does scream like a big size screen. The Venture XL has a 7-inch screen, and by design, it's on the skirt at the bottom like a normal Voron 2.4 would be, and it's on wheels. And the scary part is having it that low on a printer that's that big. I can see it getting kicked and broken. So I've already looked at other enclosures so I can mount the screen at a different place on the printer. The cart that the RatRig is on is the cart that the Venture is going to get built on and stay on. So it's already got the roll around not self-leveling, but roll around leveling feet. and that's what will live on there. So the feet that come with the Venture XL will just kind of go in the bin and be used like if I build another one of these carts for other printer projects. Yeah, the 10-inch will need an enclosure by itself. And like I said, you did have a printed enclosure here that's kind of got a stand on it. It's not super clean on the underside, but it's good. And it looks like this would be a sitting, enclosure. It would sit like that at an angle. So as long as we can mount everything in there, should be good. I'll have to, if I have to, I'll look for another one and print it out. But we'll get that on there. It needs to be done soon too, so I'll make that happen. Yeah, Tinkering Techie, we're just going through and we've been chatting and printing, and it's 10 o'clock. We've been going for about a little over 2 hours. This print here is going to run for several hours. It'll go overnight. So, yeah, the ETA on that is like almost 3 a.m. So I'm not going to be here when that finishes. I will probably be heading home soon. And oh, by the way, for those of you that are in North Carolina, in or around the Sanford area, if I can stop hiccuping, next Sunday, so a week from tomorrow, will be our regularly scheduled maker meetup here at Digital Dragon 3D. I believe Tinkering Techie has a different date for that day. So he'll be taking care of his wife's birthday, if I remember right, and won't be here. Or somebody is. Can't remember. It might have been Tinkering Techie. It might be somebody. You'll be there? Okay. I'm trying to remember. Somebody won't be, though. It's somebody's birthday, spouse's birthday. They said they won't be here. But, yeah, next week is our regularly scheduled, next Sunday is our regularly scheduled maker meetup here at the Dragon Den. It was the RC meet that you couldn't make. Okay, there you go. There you go. That makes sense. So yeah, if you're interested in seeing some of these cool projects like the RatRig or the FlashForge IDEX, if it's still here at that point, or even the Stealth Changer, come on down. Come hang out with us for this Maker Meetup Day. And we're going to be having fun, just chatting, talking printers, talking 3D printing. And I'm going to have to look at the agenda to see what the topic was that Miss Dragon had picked for this month's Maker Meetup. So it should be out on the events page, but apparently we set it up on the back end, but not on the page. So let me see. Haha. It just had not been published. Yep, looks like June's Maker Meetup is the same as last month's, which would be 3D printer decision tree. We'll talk about 3D printing. How about that? How about that? We will do that. So 3D printing it shall be. And sorry, while I'm sitting here and realizing that they were all created and none of them were actually published. So I'm going to go ahead and publish all of them real fast as we're chatting. And also, because we are going to Murph, me and Mrs. Dragon, the store will have shorter hours that weekend. As I mentioned, Evil Diesel will not be able to attend. So he will be holding the fort down while we're out of town. There we go. We should have some things up on the website now. As far as the events go. Hey, look at that. We have events listing on the events. Awesome. Okay, folks. I need to still close down a few things here at the shop and then try and go home and get some rest before tomorrow. Let me that there. We'll bring this up. Come back over here to the main view. We'll throw that up there. And once again, thank you everybody for being here this evening. I promise I am trying to get back on schedule with our normally scheduled evenings, Tuesday, Thursday nights, and then Saturday nights as well. Thank you all for being here and hanging out with us this evening. A lot of new faces, so thank you for coming out and joining. And, you know, please, if you like what you see, be sure to like, subscribe, go ahead and give us a follow over on Twitch as well. And that way you can get notified of future streams when we go live. And for those of you that are going to be here next weekend, I look forward to seeing you next weekend. For those of you that will be at Murph, I will see you at Murph in 2 weeks. Wow. That's crazy. Less than 14, about 14 days. Exactly 14 days. It's 2 weeks from today. So thank you everybody for being here. Everybody have a great night. Stay safe. And Abitnutz, I will send you some emails with a kind of a list of things that I would be interested in so that we can talk about that. And we'll be working on getting the screen added and then working on getting the second tool head up and running. So everybody, thank you for being here. You all have a wonderful evening, and I will see you all again on Tuesday. Bye now.